But first, Newspoll today told us very clearly that the federal election, well, when it comes to the coalition, they shouldn't hope for a fourth term in government. That's what the numbers are looking like. Of course, in 2019, the polls told us the same thing. Until Labor created a Frankenstein set of overreaching policies and the electorate had their own say at the booth. Now, to me, that was the real difference in 2019 and not so much very differing climate change policies. However, this time, will Labor's election promises scare the horses again and belie the polls? Well, not the way Anthony Albanese is playing the game, and I actually doubt that the difference between a 28% and 43% emissions target will provide either man with the key to the Prime Minister's office. What can be his saviour, though, is what we heard today.
At this election, next year, it is a choice. It's a choice between the Liberals and the Nationals and Labor and the Greens. And at the end of the day, someone's going to be chairing Cabinet, and that's going to be me or Anthony Albanese. Someone's going to be chairing the National Security Committee of Cabinet and making decisions about keeping Australians safe in our region. Who you choose locally, whether it's a member of the government in the form of Dave Sharma or anyone else, the only way you can ensure that we can secure our economic recovery and keep Australians safe in these uncertain times is supporting the Liberals and Nationals candidates.
So is this argument just a slogan? A coalition between Labor and the Greens. That prospect is not just scary, it is very possible. Now, this argument has legs, not just because Labor wants to form an alliance with the Greens. They don't. They've said that. But it's the only alliance possible if the two major parties fall short of the 76 seat required to form a majority government. Listen to what the Deputy Leader said on Sky News yesterday and watch carefully how he wouldn't be drawn on what Labor would do if they fell short of 76 seats.
Would you rule out a Labor Greens minority
We're not
government?
going to enter into a coalition with the Greens. We've been making that clear from day one. This is just Scott Morrison lying again.
Well, what happens if you're at 73 seats though, and the other guy's at 72? I mean,
we're seeking to win government in our own right.
Okay, but what if you don't?
Yeah, well, Andrew, right now our proposition is about how to get to 76.
So there is no Labor Greens minority government.
We are not going to enter into a coalition with the Greens. We've made that clear.
He cannot say that. He cannot say that. And all of a sudden, forecasting the future is a lie as well, is it? Today's polls tell us that there's a real turn-off towards the major parties. Now, we've seen this movie before in very similar circumstances in 2010. Tony Abbott's coalition and Julia Gillard's Labor Party were on the nose. And so with Labor winning 72 seats and the coalition 73, it's happened. Did Julia Gillard hand the reins to Abbott because she wanted to avoid cuddling up with the Greens? Of course she did not. She signed an alliance with Bob Brown on the 1st of September 2010, which put the major parties equal. And as we now know, independents Rob Oakeshott, Tony Windsor and Andrew Wilkie showed their true colours and joined Julia and Bob's alliance. Now, if you think Labor will refuse to form a slim majority with the Greens in those same circumstances, you're actually grossly ignorant and are not watching. And so what did Gillard sign up to? The formation of a climate change committee, restrictions on political donations, 2.5 hours of allocated debate for private members' bills, access for Greens to various Treasury documents. A sellout to Green idealism. So what would a new Labor-Greens deal look like? Well, the PM is spot on. Let's have a look.
Labor said at the last election, and since the last election, that they thought 45% was the wrong decision, but apparently 43% is the right decision. I think, and that's just the opening bid from Labor. I mean, for Labor to legislate, if they were to form government, they would have to do that with the support of the Greens. So 43% is just the opening bid from Labor.
And it makes sense. We will see a deal done between Labor's 43 and the Greens' 75. So how's this for a new alliance? A 59% emissions target by 2030. That's right in the middle of two bids. They'll want to extend Medicare. It's on the website today, of the Greens, that is. They'll extend the NDIS, and gee, both are massive bottomless pits already. They'll increase the dole, free childcare, as we know nothing is free education, including university, and they'll increase foreign aid, no more sovereign borders. Won't that make a difference? More tax on large employers because they hate billionaires. All publicly stated policies on the Greens website. Have a look. Apart from the 59% emissions target. Whether it's 75 or 59, you can't keep the lights on at those levels. They can't sustain any economy and they can't change the temperature of the planet. But this is the prospect that should frighten the electorate. The Greens' mad and bad obsession with absolutist policies. There is never a compromise from this mob. They thrive on a fabricated world where money is never a problem, where government intrusion and control is just as limitless, and where their moral obligation to saving the planet ignores the practical and scientific reality of that in this country. Now, with the parties on the nose and an alliance between Labor and the Greens, a short price option because of that, voters need to consider what that really means. We will hear this from the coalition and particularly the Prime Minister repeatedly, deafeningly, from now on until the election early next year. It's not just a Scott Morrison slogan or a scare campaign, but it is plainly scary.